Okay, good evening, everyone. So welcome to our Nvidia earnings live coverage. And let me just share my screen. So good evening, everyone. I'm Chye, a financial market analyst and coach from Beyond Insights. And yesterday, Nvidia just passed their earnings after market close. And in this live session, we are going to dissect the earnings. I'm going to analyze or share with you the earnings. What did Nvidia did well? What did Nvidia have the risks, where is the opportunities, and so on. And also, we are going to evaluate the industry or sector impact. So Nvidia just announced their earnings and what companies in the same industry likely will be affected and what sectors likely will be benefited or affected as well. And most importantly, in this session, I'm going to cover what traders and investors need to know also through this earnings. And most importantly, in this session, I'm going to cover what traders and investors need to know also through this earnings. And most importantly, in this session, I'm going to cover. All right, so let's start. Okay, so guys are ready. You may type to know. Before we start, as usual, through this most importantly, I want to know, are you guys ready? You guys are aware of Beyond Insight is not a licensed. So let's start. It's not a licensed financial advisor. We are an educator. Okay, so guys are ready. You type best. Before we start, as usual, through this most importantly, I want to know, are you guys ready? You guys are aware of Beyond Insight is not a licensed. I want to know, are you guys ready? Your best interest. That's it. All information we share here are meant for your guys are aware of. Beyond Insight is not a your best recommendations to buy or That's sell. It. All information we share here are meant for your guys are aware of. Right. So let's take a look on the key business segment from Nvidia first. Nvidia has their first quarter after market close, and let's take a look. All information we share here are meant for your guys are aware of. Right. So let's take a look on the data center. So we can see that data center revenue business segment from Nvidia first. Is Nvidia has their first data center. So we can see that data center revenue business segment from Nvidia is Nvidia has the year-on-year growth. All right, it looks like some data center. So we can see that data center revenue business segment from Nvidia is Nvidia has having some year-on-year growth. All right, it looks like. All right, so now data center. So we can see that data center revenue business segment of Nvidia is Nvidia has double check year-on-year growth. Just type and see. Moderator, maybe you can double check with the crew. Nvidia has double check year-on-year growth. Just type and see. Moderator, maybe you can double check with the. All right, is it fixed? First, Nvidia has check year-on-year just type and see. Right, you guys can type in the chat so our team can see you, because moderator, maybe you can double check limitations to detect the echo issue, whether it's resolved or not. Right, you guys can type in the chat so our team can see you, because moderator, maybe you can double check limitations to detect the echo issue, whether it's resolved or not. Right, you guys can type in the chat so our team can see you guys, because moderator, maybe you can double check limitations to detect the echo issue, whether it's resolved or not. Right, you guys can type in the. What about now? Is it still got echo? Testing. Moderator, is it still echoish? Okay, so let's continue. I hope it fixed. Okay, so now it looks like okay already. So looks like the issue fixed. Apologize for that technical issue just now. So first of all, let's repeat what I just covered. So first of all, is the data center from their key business segment. So for the data center, the revenue continued to go up in a new record high, and the trend has been trending up well. And they have secured revenue of 39.1 billion on Q1 for financial year 2026. And the quarter-over-quarter growth is 10%, and the year-on-year growth is 73%. All right, so how many of you invested in Nvidia before? You may type in the chat. So if let's say you are a seasonal investor or one of our students, you may type in the chat to share what in the past, what are the growth rate you observed. Let's say 1 year ago or maybe few quarters ago. All right, when we have the initial AI boom, what are their usual growth rates for Nvidia. All right. So based on the past observation, it's around 100%, and you can see that this round, it's slowly coming down to 73%. And the year-on-year growth rate slowing down and normalizing is expected by analysts because the initial boom of AI get a lot of growth for Nvidia. And over time, as people upgraded their GPU, their AI GPU, all these data center deployed the AI GPU. Do you think that in just 1 year or 2 years, will they order and replace the old GPU? Or usually they may wait for a while, only upgrade their GPU. All right, you may share your view in the chat as well. So analysts expect the growth to continue to slow down and normalizing because this is normal. All right, just like last time when Apple have their first smartphone, when iPhone 1, 2, 3, when 3 they have a high growth, over time 4, 5, 6 things are slowing down. So same for Nvidia. So initially when the AI boom coming in, their growth is very good. Then over time it could, if people are foreseeing, it's normalizing. So analysts expect the growth rate to be at 53% for 2026 and around 24% for 2027. For market cap like Nvidia's like trillions dollar company, a growth of 53% still very impressive, and a 24% growth are still very good compared to a lot of growth stock. All right, so we do foresee that the demand for AI are still high for 2025 and also 2026. And later on, I will share why I say the demand are still high. All right, and the next business segment we are going to see will be the gaming segment. All right, so how many of you here are gamers, or the computer, the PC or the desktop or the laptop you are using Nvidia GPU? For example, you can take a look on your laptop sticker, whether it's showing Nvidia, that means you are using Nvidia GPU. Or for gamers, I believe most of you know Nvidia because all your graphics card to play all these 3D games of, for example, first-person shooter, strategy games or whatever, you need GPU to run the game. All right, and for the gaming business segment, the revenue have for this quarter, Nvidia managed to achieve a 3.8 billion record revenue. All right, so it's the highest ever revenue for their gaming segment. Finally, the gaming segment recovered after slowdown over the past year, and quarter over quarter it up by 48%, and year on year up by 42%. It's a very impressive growth, and at the same time, it's a record high gaming revenue. All right, later on I'll explain also what factors are causing the gaming revenue to break all-time high. All right, and the next one will be the professional visualization. So what do the business segment like professional visualization cover? Usually it cover all these professional 3D drawings. All right, for example, like your Photoshop, your CAD drawing and so on. All these professional application usually track under the professional visualization. So Nvidia also have GPU to perform all these high-end 3D drawing. For example, their Nvidia Quadro series under this segment. And the quarter-over-quarter revenue was flat. All right, so no growth from here. And however, year-on-year, they also still having a 19% growth. All right, and lastly will be the automotive. And automotive, as we know, also one of the key growth segment for Nvidia. So any one of you aware that Nvidia also involved in automotive? You may type in the chat as well if you heard about Nvidia's participation in the automotive segment. So for Nvidia, automotive is one of their key growth segment as well because they are in this autonomous driving business as well. All right, and one of their key customers will be like BYD, for example, like BYD, Toyota, and also all these traditional branded continental cars like Mercedes-Benz, BMW. They are all using Nvidia's automotive solution as well. All this autonomous driving or the semi-autonomous driving done by all these BMW, Mercedes-Benz are using, some of them are using Nvidia's solutions. All right, and for this quarter, they managed to achieve a revenue of like $500 million, and quarter over quarter is down, sorry for the slight mistake, down by 1% for quarter over quarter, and for the growth is up by 72% year on year, which is impressive as well. All right, and next let's take a look on their key earnings highlights. So Nvidia's earnings highlights, first of all, will be they still achieve record revenue despite all these challenges. All right, as we know, Nvidia in the past, I will say in the past year, has been in a very strong, facing a very strong headwinds. For example, like we do see a lot of export control implemented by the US government. And with the US-China geopolitical tension, more and more GPU got sanctioned or having export control to ship to China. And as we know, almost like quarter of Nvidia's revenue are coming from China, and this has been slowing down the stock price. You can see that the market are concerning about all this geopolitical tension, tariff, and so on, and causing Nvidia stock price to be running, or I would say keeping the Nvidia stock price in the range-bound region. All right. However, for these earnings, they're able to achieve good earnings even though they face a lot of challenges. For example, they still managed to secure a total revenue of $44 billion, up 69% year on year, which is still very impressive for a $1 trillion company. You managed to achieve almost 70% growth year on year, and a 12% quarter over quarter earnings beat. All right, and this beat a lot of expectation, even though early this year, the first quarter, they do need to write down some of their inventory due to export control on China. All right, so how many of you managed to view the news or aware of the news during April, whereby the US government start to implement export control on one of the key products that Nvidia sells to China? All right, you may type in the chat on your view as well. So we can see that despite the write down of all this inventory, they still managed to beat their revenue. All right, and also at the same time, they do achieve record data center revenue as well. The data center revenue is still on an uptrend and still a new high at $39.1 billion, and 10% growth quarter over quarter and 73% year on year, driven by all this AI demand. All right, and recently with Donald Trump's visit to Middle East, we also do see that there are potential new revenue source for Nvidia as well. Later, I'll cover that as well, because during their earnings, Jensen Huang do mention about all these new deals as well. And one of the key highlights for these earnings will be record gaming revenue. As we know, over the past year, the gaming revenue has been on the soft side for Nvidia. All right, so they has been slowing down over the past year because I would say because of the high inflation, because of the supply chain issue, because of the management are focusing on all these AI chips. So the supply chain or the supply for all these gaming graphics card has been having issue over the past year, and also at the same time, because of the cyclical nature of the gaming industry, people are not upgrading their graphics card. However, with the launch of the Blackwell-based GPU, like for example, the RTX 50 series. So how many of you heard of this RTX 50 series? All right, so they have all these high-end graphics card from 5090, 5080 to 5060 and 5070, from mid-end to high-end. All right, so all these new graphics card is having a new technology. So gamers are upgrading their graphics card because with all these latest AI function in the GPU, gamers also benefited because with the same GPU power, you are able to gaming at the higher frame rate through AI. All right, in Nvidia, they have this technology called DLSS, which it can accelerate your frame rate even higher by using AI to predict the next frame. All right, and with this, a lot of gamers actually upgraded their GPU with this Blackwell architecture, and it do boost the Nvidia's revenue on this portion. And at the same time, the supply for all these gaming GPU are stabilizing now. All right, so in the past, even gamers want to buy the GPU. Because of the supply constraint, they're not able to buy the GPU because Nvidia was focusing on both AI market and also gaming market. And because of AI market is very high revenue, they have to use majority of the production line in TSMC to build all these AI GPU. And now finally, they resolve some of the supply issue, and the gaming GPU finally have a more stable of supply. And with that, they achieve a record gaming revenue of 3.8 billion, surpassing the prior high of 3.62 billion in Q1 2023. So gaming market back into business for Nvidia as well. So you can see that not only they achieve record high for data center revenue, they also achieve record high for gaming revenue. All right, so 48% quarter over quarter growth and 42% year on year growth for the gaming revenue. And let's take a look on their EPS. So for Nvidia, the GAAP EPS will be around 0.76%, despite the write-off of the export control on China. They still managed to achieve a 27% year on year growth. and only minus 15% quarter-over-quarter because of the write-off of the export due to the inventory write-off due to the export control on China. All right, for the non-GAAP, it's around 81 cents. And why the quarter-over-quarter EPS are lowered is because of the $4.5 billion H20 inventory right now from US export controls on China. So initially, Nvidia has been producing this H20 GPU to China. Because of the export control in the past, they cannot sell their high-end GPU like all these H100 or the latest one, the Blackwell GPU to high-end Blackwell GPU to China. So in order to capture the Chinese market share, they are developing special product or special model for China region. All right, so when they want to sell to China, they develop a special model, which is a cut-down version. And they have been selling it to China on that. And with the latest export control, they no longer able to sell the stock, the inventory. They built already all this chip, but they no longer able to sell to China. And they have to write it down because in order to sell to customer in other region, they cannot sell at the original price that they sell to China, because in other region, people do have access to all these high-end GPU. And in terms of price performance ratio, people prefer the high-end GPU if I'm paying you this original retail price that you sell to China. And in order to sell to other people, they need to sell at a lower price. Hence, they need to write off or write down some of this inventory from their revenue. Hence, they have a losses around 4.5 billion write down for their inventory. And also at the same time, with all this export control and also geopolitical tension going on between US and China, so investors are also concerned about the risk of losing 50 billion of TAM. TAM means total addressable market. So how many people I can sell to, the total addressable market Nvidia have in China. So they have a 50 billion TAM in China at risk. But later on, I will show you what are the other revenue sources that are able to offset this 50 billion. All right, so in a high-level glance, when people see this 50 billion TAM, so how many of you feel that Nvidia are going to be bearish? All right, so they lost the Chinese market. So they may lose quarter of their revenue. So how many of you have this feeling that it's going to be a very, very bearish news for Nvidia? All right, you may type your view in the chat as well. So later on, I'll share what other factors that are managed that help them to overcome this, and it's actually related to Donald Trump's visit to Middle East. All right, and before we go to that, let's take a look on the positive side, or what are the good Nvidia forward-looking statements going forward for Q2 and in the future. So first of all, the management from Nvidia still anticipate Blackwell continue to do well. They do see that the Blackwell RAM in Q2 able to offset the China decline. All right, so recently with Donald Trump went to Middle East and tried a very good deals, which I will share the detail later on. So Nvidia management are confident that with the high demand in US, the new demand from Middle East, they are able to offset this Chinese decline. All right, China decline. All right, and also for the AI infrastructure investment worldwide are still going up. All right, so as we can see, over the past 2 years, the AI boom has been happening in the United States. All right, and those big giant hyperscaler like Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Google, all these are investing in all these high-end GPU. And now the trend shifting beyond United States. All right, we can see that the Middle East, for example, like the Saudi Arab, the United Arab Emirates, they all also want to become AI powerhouse. And in Southeast Asia, Singapore are also very ambitious to become an AI powerhouse. And some of you, any one of you that invested in KLCI or Malaysian stock market last year, you may also aware of a lot of data center stocks are rallying, and because of Singapore have limited land and also water, they want to move to Malaysia. So same for the Middle East now. So they also want to become one of the AI powerhouse. And during the earnings call, Jensen Huang actually mentioned about there's still a lot of AI factory projects, over 100 of them, around 100 of them that are going to be developed worldwide. All right, and a lot of them haven't announced yet. All right, a lot of them still haven't announced to the world. So he do see the demand are still coming in. And all these AI factory projects it also means the AI data center, because as we know during presentation, they like to use all these fancy words. So AI factory is also referred to AI data center. So all these AI factory projects are requiring tens of gigawatts in the future. All right, people are talking about 10 gigawatts of electricity, which is a lot. All right, tens of gigawatts means really a lot. All right, and from this, the management from Nvidia do expect many more AI factory announcements globally. All right, like I mentioned earlier, over hundreds of AI factories project, and many of them haven't announced. So over the years, you may see more and more of them are going to be announced, and this may provide more positive news or positive catalysts for all these AI-related semiconductor stocks, especially Nvidia, because they are the leaders. All right, they are the leaders, and when people invest in all this AI, they want the raw power. Hence, they may go for the most high-end one. So Nvidia slightly will be benefited, and sovereign AI, all right, will be positioned as a new growth engine. For example, now we see that Saudi started that sovereign AI, going to buy a lot of GPU from Nvidia. They are announcing a 500 megawatt AI factory, and in over 5 years, they plan to go until 5 gigawatt as well. All right, and also at the same time, we do see that United Arab Emirates, UAE, all right, UAE, they also very ambitious. They also plan a 5 gigawatt AI factory. So over time, you may see other countries start to announce as well how many gigawatt of AI factories they want to build. And one of the region mentioned by Nvidia's management will be Taiwan as well. Taiwan also planning to build an AI factory with supercomputers. All right, so these are the good news for Nvidia, also forward-looking statement from their management. And next one will be inference. So inference part will be the reasoning part for AI. So over the last 2 years, majority of the focus is on training, all right, training the AI. All right, and now people are talking about interacting, reasoning, all right, reasoning with user or inference part. So the inference part will be the next significant growth part for all this AI, especially for the inference part, the workload, which will going to drive more demand for GPU as well. All right, and the management also see that enterprise and also industrial AI expected to take off as well. All right, as we can see, more and more people using AI. And if let's say you are in a corporate, and when your corporate start to use AI as well, let's say use AI for research as well. So you may purchase all these workstation that have high-end GPU in order to run all these powerful AI engine. And if let's say for factory, when factory adopt AI, also they may need a new generation of computers. All right, for a new generation of computers to power all this AI function. All right, so these are the very good positive forward-looking statement from Nvidia. And if you're enjoying this content, you may click on the link in the chat to download my slide. All right, so this slide are available for you guys. So if let's say you have enjoyed this content, you want this slide as a record or as a reference, you can always click in the comment, click the link in the comment and download this slide. All right, so let's continue with the next key message or forward-looking statement from Nvidia. So next one will be the gaming supply and availability of the gaming GPU to be improved in Q2. All right, like I mentioned earlier, in the past, even though you are Nvidia fanboys, like always use Nvidia GPU to game, when you want to buy Nvidia GPU, it's not easy to get the stock. All right, so in the US, I would say there are shortage in supply, and also in the Europe region. In Malaysia, still okay. If I go to the Laoyat Plaza Mall or the local malls here, I can still find some GPU here. All right, but in Europe region, in US region, it will be much more worse. All right, and this is their main revenue source. Hence, also China, because of the GPU ban, a lot of high-end GPU, even gaming GPU cannot go into China. All right, only the mid-end one able to sell in China. So with the improvement on all this supply chain or all this supply, so people now able to buy off the shelf, and this may improve the Q2 revenue for gaming even further. All right, so we may continue monitor this one. And lastly will be the forecast. So after going through all this very good forward-looking statement, like the CEO talk about all this potential growth in Blackwell, the RAM in Blackwell, and all this AI infrastructure investment worldwide, and also the reasoning part will be the next growth factors. Also with the enterprise and industrial AI, let's take a look on the forecast revenue. All right, so the revenue are expected to be at 45 billion. All right, so just now we see that the total revenue is 44 billion, and it's only 1 billion growth over the next quarter. But why the stock price still reacted positively is because even though they are suffering a potential 8 billion China loss. All right, just now I mentioned about the 4.5 billion write-off. But if let's say considering the next Q2, they are forecasting a 8 billion China loss. All right, so they may be even more write down next quarter, all right, quarter two, 8 billion losses are expected. So with the 8 billion losses, they still able to achieve 45 billion, which is higher than the current quarter, which relieve the investor as well. It means that even though they lost the China market, they managed to find some replacement market as well. All right. And the gross margins are expected to be at around 72%. And for non-GAAP is around, both are 72%, just by 0.2% difference. So plus minus 50 basis point difference or range. And the operating expenses are expected to be around 5.7 billion for GAAP accounting and for around 4 billion for non-GAAP accounting. All right, so these are the Nvidia's forward-looking statement. And next, let's take a look on what are the key risks to manage. All right, so as an investors or responsible investor, we also want to manage our risk. All right, when it comes to investing, always manage your risk first before you go for the earnings or go for the profits. All right, so let's take a look on what are the potential risks or key risks we need to manage as an investor. Let's say we are looking at Nvidia. All right, so first of all, China market loss. All right, so these are one of the major risks or key risks for Nvidia. So the China market are very important for Nvidia in the past because of the quarter of their revenues are coming from China in terms of data center. And with the 8 billion loss in the H20, 8 billion projected loss in the H20 revenue loss, and also 50 billion potential AI market TAM at risk. So these are the concerns from investor. All right, so we may want to monitor whether in going forward, if China Nvidia lost their China market, whether any other revenue source able to cover that or not. And also with all this export control, all this ban, so it may benefit China. All right, so what do you think about China? So if let's say you are China, you are one of the world's second superpower, and if let's say US start to restrict all your chip export, all right, you cannot get the high-end GPU from Nvidia. And as a government, will you encourage innovation or promote self-sufficient from your own key companies, for example, like Huawei, for example, like all these Byron and so on, all these 3D graphics companies in China? All right, so in the past, we can see that China also see this issue because they are having a tech war or competition with US, and US are sanctioning all this GPU. You cannot buy GPU. I don't want you to overtake me in terms of AI computing power. So with all this, Chinese government are actually promoting a lot of research, R&D, everything in China about semicon. And Huawei do come out with some of the solution nowadays, all right, for the AI chip. And with all this sanction and ban, it will get China more innovative over time, all right, because of the limited resources, because of the competition, because of the funding by government. So people may get more innovative, all right, get more innovative in order to overcome this challenge. So this may strengthen the Chinese competitor. And after the Chinese competitor are strengthened, as Nvidia, let's say over time, when the China products are getting more competitive, so it may erode their market share for Nvidia. All right, so these are one of the key risks for Nvidia themselves. And also next one will be gaming. So gaming, even though we see a record revenue, but as we know, the gaming industry is highly cyclical. All right, say for example, let's say in normal computing usage. So usually after you buy a laptop with a very good spec, after you buy it, how long you need to use the laptop until your next upgrade cycle? Let's say, for example, you buy your laptop back in 2020, you need to work from home. So over how many years, usually you will upgrade your laptop again? All right, so these trends are similar for gamers as well. So for example, let's say I used to be a gamer. So when I buy Nvidia GPU, usually after I buy, the next 3 years to 5 years, I not really want to upgrade my GPU also, unless I'm going for very high-end game. All right, unless I want to squeeze every single frame out of my gaming. Else, I will just use the same GPU until it no longer able to run some game again. All right, so the game I play can able to run to 3 to 5 years. So I may use that graphics card for 3 to 5 years. So you can see the industry is cyclical one. People may not buy the next year after they upgrade this year. All right, so this is one of the risks for Nvidia as well for the gaming industry. And next one will be the supply chain and also manufacturing dependencies. So as we know, Nvidia's highly reliant on TSMC, which is in Taiwan. So TSMC, as we know, is the world largest fab for high-end chip. They produce all these very high-end GPU, CPU, and also SoC for all these computer, your smartphone, Apple M4 chip or whatever laptop chip you see, even for AMD. So all of them are most of them are produced from TSMC. They can produce all these 3 nanometer semicon. So TSMC is one of the leader, and also Samsung is one of the key supplier for Nvidia as well. All right, so these are the 2 companies that mainly manufacturing all this Nvidia GPU chip, and it's based in Taiwan. That's why US, in order to mitigate or diversify the supply chain, they encourage TSMC to set up factories in US as well. All right, and with all these sole supplier issue or the only fab that able to produce their chip, they may have supply bottlenecks. Say for example, Blackwell GPU in the past, we do see that they're having a capacity constraint, whereby if let's say TSMC, let's say in the factory, they have only 10 lines, so maximum they only can produce the output of 10 lines. You cannot ask them to immediately set up the 11 line or 12 line within like a few days. It usually takes months or years to set up. All right, so with that, it may cause supply bottlenecks for all this production, and they may miss their demand if let's say they cannot resolve the capacity issue. But we can see now, for now, the risk is mitigated. They handle it well. So the management has been doing a good job on handling all these supply chain issue. They're able to deliver most of their demand for Blackwell. Even initial, there is some concern. And also at the same time, they managed to recover the gaming demand as well. Gaming supply, not demand, gaming supply as well. All right, so you can see that even on the same line, they want to produce between gaming GPU and also AI GPU. It also takes some resources constraints, so they managed to resolve that. All right, so let's continue to monitor this, because if any supply bottlenecks, it may cause some supply issue. And lastly will be the TSMC likely to increase price. All right, because if let's say the manufacturing of all these high-end GPU move from Taiwan to US, it may incur additional costs as well. All right, not only in terms of like the labor cost, but also the tooling costs and other costs as well. For example, let's say you are setting up a new plant in US, you need a lot of high-end fab, and for the fab, the building is a very unique type building, so you need a lot of expensive buildings as well, and also at the same time you need a lot of water for cooling, and also you need a lot of electricity for all these high-end machines. And lastly will be the skilled workers. So all the engineers need to be work in a TSMC culture as well. So US culture and Taiwan culture are different. So in order to run all this in US, costs may increase, and TSMC may increase their price, and it may cause the GPU to be more expensive. All right, and the next one will be geopolitical and also regulatory risk. So as we know, the world is still having some global race, I would say power race between US and China. And we do see more and more sanctions and bans between these 2 countries. And even the trade war, they go until 150%, then now finally want to talk and so on. So all this trade tension may affect Nvidia. And also the changes in US export policies or also tariff could disrupt the AI factory deployment as well. Say for example, Saudi and United Arab Emirates managed to get the deals. All right, but who knows halfway US change their trade policies? We don't know, because over time, the politicians may change, and the government may change, and policies may change. So if let's say they suddenly change their export policies, then this may affect the progress of all these AI factory developments. So these are the geopolitical risks and regulatory risks. And the next one will be competition. So we do see that the global rivals, for example, like Huawei from China, or like, for example, AMD or Broadcom, they may be challenged Nvidia's AI infrastructure dominance. All right, so now even though Nvidia's are the leaders, but in the semiconductor world, things change fast. All right, so if let's say the next revision of chip, you are falling behind, then you may get into competition. All right, but for Nvidia's, for now, we see they are still having a very strong mode for them because of their software drivers called 𝘠𝘪𝘴. So if you want to know more about 𝘠𝘪𝘴, you can search online. So these are one of the key software elements that protecting people capturing Nvidia's market, because it's not easy for you to switch hardware if you are using their software. All right, so these are the key benefit or key advantage for Nvidia for now. All right, and next one will be loss of China market share could also weaken their long-term growth prospect. All right, so if let's say Nvidia lost the China market and China market captured by all these other companies like Huawei. All right, so when other company captured China also, all these companies from China may come out and capture other global market share as well. For example, they may come to Malaysia and sell to Malaysia data center Huawei GPU and go to maybe Middle East to sell the Huawei GPU as well. So this may erode some of the Nvidia market share as well if let's say all these China competitors manage to come out and challenge Nvidia in terms of performance, and they may be losing their long-term growth. All right. So these are the key risks to monitor. All right, and next one will be the key achievement and opportunities from this round Nvidia's earnings. So what they achieve or what they announced. So first of all, Nvidia announced they are going to build factories in the US. All right, I believe this one is because also some pressure from the US government. So they are now building factories in the US and they are working with their US partners to produce Nvidia AI supercomputers in the US. All right, so nowadays we can see that AI and also computing power is one of the key items to compete between US and China. So in the past, during Cold War, we see some nuclear race between Russia and US, and now it's no longer that kind of race. We are looking at all this AI race. We are looking at supercomputer race. We are looking at computing power. All right, so these are the key competition between these two countries, and supercomputers is one of it, and Nvidia also producing AI supercomputers now. All right, and also they are going to introduce the Blackwell Ultra and also Nvidia Dynamo for accelerating and scaling AI reasoning model. So this is the inference part. Like I mentioned earlier, the reasoning part is the next growth factors, and Nvidia are well positioned. They're going to launch this Blackwell Ultra to capture this market. All right, optimized for AI reasoning. And they are going to announce the partnership with 𝘕𝑚ain also. Those 𝘕𝑚ain are from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabs are one of the AI company in Saudi Arab. And this is going to drive the next wave of AI development because the initial commitment will be 500 megawatt. All right. And in over 5 years, it may go until 5 gigawatt. All right. Over long terms. But it's not solely for Nvidia. They are diversifying across different vendors. That's why you can see that other competitors for Nvidia also doing well. For example, AMD also part of these projects. All right, so these are the good news from Middle East. And other than that, UAE, United Arab Emirates, also announced this Stargate project, Stargate UAE, which is the next generation AI infrastructure. This one also 5 gigawatt. All right, this one also 5 gigawatt. All right, so with 5 gigawatt, how much revenue it will contribute to Nvidia? All right, so I did a quick research about this, and in order to run a 5 gigawatt factory, you may need around 2 million GPU. All right, 5 gigawatt, you need around 2.5 million GPU. All right, and over the 5 years, it may provide a lot of revenue for Nvidia. And for 1,000 megawatt, like what I mentioned earlier, the 1,000 megawatt, Nvidia are getting 500 megawatt for the initial phase. For the 500 megawatt, you need around 125,000 GPU. This one, 125K GPU. All right. And for 5 gigawatt, you need around 2.5 million unit of GPU. All right. So with that, if let's say we assume Nvidia are selling around $50,000 per GPU, so it may contribute around $27.5 billion per year over these two. All right, 27.5, around that region, 27 point something lah, 27.5 B. All right, itself from these two countries. All right, and just now we are mentioning about the China 50 billion loss, total addressable market loss is over 5 years. Potentially they may lose 50 billion from Chinese market. But if let's say the Middle East able to contribute 27.5 billion, around that figure per year, over 5 years, do you think they can cover back the loss? Do you think they can offset back the loss from the China market, from this Middle East alone? All right, you may type in the chat. So obviously you can see over 2 years, they will recover the 50 billion loss. All right, and over the 5 years, they may offset it back. All right, they may earn more. All right, so in this case, this provides some relief for investor, all right, for the Middle East revenue, new growth for them. So these are a significant project because as what I know for now, these projects target UAE from United Arab Emirates is actually world's second largest AI infrastructure project outside of US. So you assume US is the largest customer for all this AI infrastructure. So these are the largest project outside of US. So something worth to take a look at and monitor as well. All right, and also at the same time, they also revealed the plan to work with Taiwan government to build an AI factory supercomputer. So they're going to build supercomputer in Taiwan as well. All right, and next one will be they do have some good news for the gaming part as well. So Nintendo Switch 2. So any Switch player here, okay, play Nintendo Switch before any one of you may type in the chat as well. So Nintendo Switch 2 are going to be powered by Nvidia as well. All right, it's a 4K gaming. So nowadays everything moved to 4K. You need a very good GPU to power your gaming console, or your computer need a very power GPU in order to run 4K gaming. All right, so these are positive news for their gaming segment. And other than that, in terms of automotive, they are working with General Motors to for next generation vehicles, and also they announced some open Group N1 open humanoid foundation model. All right, and these are the key valuation metrics we usually monitor for investing. So these are Nvidia's key metrics, like for example, PE. Nvidia's PE now are trading at 45.86, which means that people are willing to pay for the future. And we do cover how to analyze all these valuation ratio and also financial ratio in our growth investing workshop. And we do also have trading workshop to cover swing trade and trend trade. And usually we'll use it differently. All right, we'll use it for us to screen stocks and so on. And we'll cover more details in our growth investing workshop. All right, so if you're interested in our workshop, you may click on the link as well. So our moderator going to post a link about the 3 hours preview we have. So you may click the link and join if let's say you're interested more about investing, how to analyze all these ratios, how to have a systematic way to invest, because in our investment courses, we do have all these process map, step-by-step guide for you to analyze stock, then when to enter, when to take action, how to analyze all these charts and so on. All right, so you may click on the link in order to join our 3 hours webinar. So these are the financial ratio. We can see that with such high PE, people are still willing to buy the stocks, which means that people are still willing to pay for the future growth. All right, and post-earning analyst update, we do see that the analysts start to upgrade or reiterate some of their price target. And we can see these are the latest earnings price target for all these analysts after the Nvidia's earnings. We can see it's around, maximum is around 200, the lowest one around 150. All right, so and where is Nvidia stock price now? You may type in the chat as well if you're monitoring Nvidia. Okay, and next one, other than all these factors, so why I said AI demand are still high early on. So other than the Middle East catalyst, for example, the UAE data center, the Saudi Arab data center, in the US itself, all these AI hyperscalers. So AI hyperscalers are the AI big players, all these data center players, for example, like Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Google, all these are AI hyperscalers in the US. They are the one buying all these Nvidia GPU because they are building all these AI data center. All right, so from the earnings itself, let's take a look on last quarter's and all these AI hyperscalers earning and what they mentioned in their earnings. All right, so they do have strong earnings from Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, and they do highlight continued high demand for AI. So why did I say so? Let's take a look on Microsoft earnings mentioned as well. All right, so first of all, Microsoft mentioned about strong demand for AI and cloud solutions with enterprise adoption. So they are seeing more and more corporate adopting AI. And this caused a high demand for AI and also cloud solution. And the management is optimistic about AI-driven growth, but noted potential capacity constraints beyond June 2025. So they do see that they will run out of capacity by June 2025. So in this case, do you think they will expand their capacity? And in order to expand capacity, do you think they need to buy more GPU? All right, so these are something for you to think of. And next one will be Meta. All right, so Meta also mentioned about compute shortage. All right, so they have some limiting some internal AI and model tests. All right, their ad model tests. They are doing AI for their ads, using AI to optimize their ads. So they have some limited computing power as well. And they do mention about supply-demand imbalance still persists. So in this case, looks like they are also undersupplied. They have not enough capacity. And they have computing shortage. So in order to increase your computing power, do you think they need to buy more GPU as well? Do you think they need to expand their hardware as well? And lastly will be Amazon. So Amazon also having some capacity issues. So they are mentioning about demand outstrip supply for AI workloads. So they are still ramping up their capacity and they plan to relieve it in second half of 2025. So with all this information from different tech earnings, we can see that Nvidia still have potential catalysts because the AI demand are still high and they are one of the leaders, or I would say they are the leaders, they are the 80% market share leaders in terms of AI chip. All right, and this will be the supply chain dependency between the whole industry. So these are the high level ones. So for example, what are the potential ripple effect for Nvidia's earnings? So who will be affected in the same industry, or what companies likely may be affected? All right, so we usually classify them into a few sections called upstream, downstream, customer, competitors, and also their ecosystem. All right, and we cover this in more in-depth detail in our industry insight workshop. So if you are interested, you can also come and inquire or talk to our team, and also click on the link if you're interested to join our webinar. So let's go through high level first. All right, so what are the upstream suppliers? It means that those suppliers that sell to Nvidia, all right, supplier that sell to Nvidia. For example, TSMC is one of the major wafer fab that sell all these, help Nvidia to do all this GPU, produce all this GPU and sell back to Nvidia. All right, they are the subcon, or they are the manufacturer. All right, and next one will be like Micron. Micron providing all this memory to Nvidia to build all these graphics card. All right, and we have all these back-end packaging company like ASE Group in Taiwan. So these are the upstream suppliers, which mean that manufacturing part they provide either as a supplier role to Nvidia, or they provide some manufacturing service to Nvidia. All right, and then we have a downstream customers, which is who Nvidia sells to. All right, for example, like Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Google. All of these are downstream customers. Or even like just now I mentioned about the Saudi Arab company, Q-Min. They are also one of the downstream customers. They do buy from Nvidia. They buy all this GPU from Nvidia. And at the same time, they also have OEM partners. So who are the OEM partners? Is those that help Nvidia to, I would say, use Nvidia, buy from Nvidia, buy the GPU from Nvidia, build into an end solution and sell to customer. For example, all these Supermicro, Dell, and also HP Enterprise. All right, and at the same time, there are competitors as well in this market. So Nvidia is not the only company that produce AI GPU. So they still have competitors like AMD and so Intel. All right, and AMD, Intel are playing the catch-up game. We can see that AMD also are working hard to catch up with Nvidia, and recently they introduced very good GPUs as well. For example, in gaming part, they have this 9600 XT GPU, and also in the AI, they have this MI300. And Intel also recently produced a lot of good GPU. All right, so if some of you guys are from the IT world or IT industry, you may know of this event called Computex in Taiwan, and Intel recently announced a flagship of GPUs. All right, so you may monitor that as well. And lastly will be the data center ecosystem. For example, the power infrastructure provider, the construction company, the server system, the storage, the networking companies like Broadcom. All right, also the key beneficial for all these AI trend. All right, so if let's say you see a new trend in Middle East, some of these may able to use back as well. For example, you know, Nvidia is a producer, AMD is a chip producer, but the power system side could be different, could be a Middle East company to provide all this energy. All right, and with that, let's take a look on the live stock chart because we've been going through slides. So let me show you guys some of the stock chart first. So these are the Nvidia chart. Let me just show you the charts. Okay, so after earnings, the chart now at 140, around this level. All right, so with the strong earnings, is it means that you can buy immediately? All right, do you want to buy at this price now, even though it have a strong earnings? All right, you may type in the chat. And how many of you are our students here? You may also comment, type me in the chat. So do remember, I already tell you a lot of good factors about Nvidia, and you may refer back to your process map. If let's say you are investor, where are your, what is the valuation? Where is the price that reasonable for you to plan your investment? And let's say you are a trader, let's say you are planning to do trend trade. what are the key levels you need to monitor? For example, maybe pull back to 130 level after this strong earnings, or when it retests this previous support that turned into this resistance that turned into new support now. All right, so you may plan for that, and even you are swing traders, you may plan according to the process map. And usually we also have intraday trading. All right, so for intraday traders, you may want to prepare all these important levels as well if you are our student. So you can see that these are the important levels you may want to monitor for. And if let's say you are intraday traders, usually we only trade today. All right, so we can take, as an intraday trader, we can take advantage of all these catalysts. For example, tonight, maybe we anticipate Nvidia likely to be bullish. Then you can prepare all these key level and trade intraday until the stock price pull back to a reasonable level. Then you plan for your swing trade, trend trade, or investing. All right. And for those that not our student, you may also comment in the chat. If then you are not our student, you may also type like maybe not our student or something in the chat. Maybe type 1 in the chat. And you, if you are interested in our step-by-step process and also strategies, you may also click on the link to join our free 3-hour webinar if you are interested to. And I would say, even though you are investor, I would say you need to have a clarity on when you enter, when you exit. You need to have a process, a proper process that spell out criteria that what are the fundamental criteria you need to have to invest, what are the technical levels you are monitoring at. And when you plan your entry, plan your exit, you need to have a proper risk management and need to have a proper sequence or process or criteria to plan your trades as well. All right, so these are the important elements if you want to become a very successful trader or investor. All right, and other than Nvidia itself, we can see that other stocks also rallying. For example, Broadcom. All right, Broadcom, you can see that Nvidia announced earnings, why they also go up? So these are the common question. And one of the reason is Broadcom also is one of the key AI players. They are in the network side. And with Nvidia announced all these good Middle East projects, all this AI infrastructure, do you think that Broadcom likely will be benefited as well? All right, and they are also doing custom chip for all this inference level. So Nvidia said, "Oi, this inference level going to be the next growth factor. Do you think they will benefit as well?" So you can consider that as well. And lastly, let's take a look on their competitor as well. So AMD. So AMD, we can see a bit weaker, also gap up, and now are pulling back. This slightly pullback is because Nvidia chart has been weaker because they are the number 2, not the number 1. Number 1 is Nvidia. And I suspect the gap up is because of the gaming recovery as well. All right, so gaming market for Nvidia recover. So people also say that who knows, Nvidia GPU also going to be sell well. All right, and with all these Middle East projects, you can see that the AMD also reacted positively. All right, so these are the industry chain that you can see from all these different companies, even though they are separate companies, but they are in the same industry and they do affect each other. All right, so these are the important charts you need to go through. And lastly will be, next will be, so these are all our coverage about these Nvidia earnings, and I see that I'm running late. So, all right, so if you are interested in, after I go through all these Nvidia's earnings and you want to take advantage of all this coming AI trend, and you want to learn about a systematic way to invest or trade, you can click on our link in the chat, and also you can click on our link in the chat and also scan this QR code to register for the 3 hours webinar where Kathleen will share with you all these details. All right, so we are the education provider that able to have a few different trading style, versatile. So we have a few trading style like investing, swing trading, and also trend trading. And each of the trading style, we have process map for that as well. And we also have a proper risk management step as well. So we will cover proper risk management. And also at the same time, we do also have hybrid class. All right, so we do have hybrid class, which means that we have face-to-face class and also online class as well. So if you're interested, you can scan on the QR code or click on the link in the chat. And lastly will be, we have some message from our marketing team for you guys, and I'll play some of the message for you to take advantage, or I would say enjoy the promotion from Mumu. All right.
Thank you so much, Chye. I hope everyone here has gained some insights from Chye's session today. I'm here just to share a little bit about a 𝘰𝘪𝘴 offer that they are currently offering, right? So there's Nvidia shares up for grabs. Who don't want that, right? Now, let me just share here. So if you scan on our this QR code here, or you can type in this link, startmomo.com/beyond insights, you actually get a little bit extra rewards as well, which is this reward here. When you deposit 1,000 ringgit, then you get to claim 40 ringgit stock cash vouchers. That this is on top of every the offer that they're currently running. So what are they offering, right? To get Nvidia share, you will need to deposit accumulatively up to 5,000 to get a 200 ringgit worth of Nvidia shares. And if you deposit cumulatively up to 10,000, you get 500 ringgit Nvidia share worth of Nvidia shares. Plus, if you have some extra cash laying around, if you are doing this in a one-time deposit, one lump sum, 10,000, then you get additional. This is additional on top of the 500. Then you get the 100 ringgit Nvidia shares worth, okay? So these are the offer that 𝘰𝘪𝘴 is running currently until June 5th. So you have a couple more days to do this. If you are an existing user, but you haven't opened any account with them yet, this is still applicable, yeah. So what you can do is just go ahead and scan on this link and open an account with them, and then put through the deposits, and you will get these rewards. And the last one here, the fourth one, these are not stacked on top of each other, yeah. So you only get one, not all of it. So the last one here, if you do a cumulative deposit of 30,000 ringgit and complete 3 buy shares, you get to claim an additional 1,000 ringgit Nvidia shares. So these are rewards and offers that you do need to claim after a certain login period. I believe it's 60 days. You have to deposit and keep your money in there. You can use the money to trade. That's totally fine. And then afterwards, you do need to remember to claim the rewards to get all your Nvidia shares from this offer here. So I would say it's somewhat of a risk-free investment. If you have some extra cash lying around, definitely go for it. And also, 𝘰𝘪𝘴 has got a lot of great features, right? Especially on their mobile app as well. So you can go and check them out and see how you could also use them in your investing or trading journey. Okay, so thank you so much. I'll pass it back to Chye.
Okay, so now let's take a look on the Q&A. All right, so we have a Q&A session now. So any questions? So what is your questions? What is your view about Nvidia earnings? And you want to ask anything regarding the earnings or regarding the Nvidia that I shared just now, you may type in the chat. So any question from you guys before we end the session tonight? Right now we have a Q&A session after the Nvidia sharing just now. So any questions, you may type in the chat. All right, so if no question, let's call it an end for today's earnings update. I hope you guys learn a lot through these earnings. And if you are interested to learn more, you can scan this QR code and chat with us, or you can click on the link just now, or you can also scan the QR code just now. And also remember to download this slide if you want to download it as your reference, or if you like this slide, you can download it as well. And you can click on the link in the chat as well. All right, so thank you everyone. Hope you guys prosper